Hello everyone, my friends. I'm Yulia, and you're on my channel called Julia Anchi. Thank you in advance for your likes and your comments. In this masterclass, I want to show you how to crochet this kind of horse. We'll be making this little horse out of jute, but you can also use raffia. It will look beautiful as well. Here are the horses I made. They're small and I'm going to hang them on the Christmas tree. Let's take a look at what we'll need to crochet these little horses. So, friends, let me show you what you'll need to make the horse. I'll be using jute, as I mentioned before. This one is from the brand Arachna. There is quite a large color palette here, with bright colors. The jute feels very pleasant to the touch, and when crocheting, it's not too stiff, so the horses turn out really beautiful. You can pick any shade you like. For example, I made one in gray, and it turned out great. Now I'm going to crochet with black jute. As for the mane, here's what I'm using. This is macrame cotton thread. I don't remember the exact name, but you can look it up online. It brushes out really well. You get a beautiful fluffy mane this way. Next, you'll need a bit of stuffing, because our horse isn't flat. There's stuffing inside here. A needle to hide the yarn ends. A crochet hook. I'll be crocheting with it. 3.5s. You can actually use a smaller one too. And scissors. That's it, friends. I've shown you the main materials. Now let's move on to crocheting. We'll crochet 2 pieces like this together. Then we'll join them together. After that, then we'll make the mane, the tail, and the horse will be ready. We'll crochet using single crochet stitches, working in rows back and forth. And we'll start crocheting from the legs. The horse's legs. First, we'll crochet one leg, then the second. Join them together, and then we'll crochet the body and move on to making the neck and head. Crocheting. I'll show you each row and crochet along with you. The pattern is simple, so the horse is easy to make. Let's get started quickly. Make a loop, insert the hook, grab the yarn, pull it through this ring, pull both strands to tighten. Get the first stitch, tighten it by pulling the working yarn, and now chain 4 stitches. Take the working yarn and pull it through the loop on the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next, we need to crochet 3 single crochets. Here we have 3 chains, and into each of these 3 chains, we make 1 single crochet, starting from the second chain from the hook. Insert the hook into the center, grab the working yarn, and crochet. One more time. Crochet, and the last stitch. Continue crocheting, then place the tail between the hook and the working yarn and make a turning chain. The turning chain is needed to move on to the next row. At the end of each row throughout the entire project, we will always crochet 1 chain. For the turning chain, I keep crocheting in the tail, and here I will also have 3 single crochets. But in the center stitch, I will make an increase, meaning I will crochet 2 stitches into it to widen the leg a bit. I also start crocheting from the second chain from the hook. Insert the hook under it, grab the working yarn, crochet in the tail, and pull through. Next, in the following stitch, I make an increase by inserting the hook under the top loop, right under the top loop. And in this stitch, I crochet 2 single crochets. And right here, into the same base, I make the second one, so I made an increase. An increase means 2 or more stitches in the same base. Next, we crochet the last single crochet in this row. Done! Chain 1 to turn. And for the next 2 rows, we simply crochet 4 single crochets in each row. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chain 1 to turn, and again, 1, 2, 3, and 4. With that, we've finished crocheting the leg. You can cut the yarn, leaving a small tail. Now we'll close everything up here and hide the yarn end. You can cut off this first yarn tail. Cut it off, and now take a needle. And we'll close up this row. Yes, I secure it like this. And then from the wrong side, I weave the yarn under the stitches a couple of times so nothing comes undone. Like this, here. And here, pull everything tight, cut the yarn, and that's it. Our first leg is ready. Now we'll crochet a second one just like it, and then we'll join the second leg. I'll crochet this off camera now, and we'll meet again at the 5th row when we start joining our legs and move on to crocheting the body. I finished the second leg as well. And now I'm moving on to the 5th row. Here, I don't cut the yarn tail. I keep crocheting, and we do it like this. 1, 2, 3. 3 stitches. We crochet single crochets, 1 stitch in each stitch. 2, 3, and then in the last, the 4th stitch, I make an increase, meaning I crochet 2 single crochets into 1 stitch, into the same base. Now I make 3 chain stitches. 1, 2, 3. Next, I take my second leg, and here are my 4 chains. Into the very first one, I insert the hook and attach this leg. To this part, I take the working yarn, pull it through, and crochet a single crochet. Into this same base, I make an increase. So we are crocheting this leg here in a mirrored row, right? We have increases next to the chain, and we continue like that. I have 3 single crochets, 1, 2, and the very last one is indeed 3. Be sure to make a turning chain. Move on to the next row, and the next 4 rows, these are rows 6, 7, 8, and 9, are worked exactly the same way, just single crochets to the end, turning chain, and so on. Now we'll crochet this row together, and then you can do the next 3 rows on your own. Always start crocheting from the second chain. Insert the hook there, right into the second chain. 1, 2. 3, 4, and also 5. 5. Next, we'll be working into this part. This is the chain we made at the beginning. Here are these 3 stitches right now, and I'll crochet them correctly like this. 5. Next, we made 3 chain stitches, and now we need to crochet into those. Hook 'em in. Carefully insert the hook into the very edge of the chain, and then crochet right here at this exact spot. We crochet this one, which is 7, and then into here. This is stitch number 8. Next, we have 5 more stitches to complete. 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So in this row and in the next 3 or 4, you should have 13 single crochet stitches. Chain 1 to turn, and then work 3 more rows of single crochet on your own. I've finished crocheting 4 rows of single crochet, and now I'm moving on to the next row, row 10. I also crocheted this row with single crochet stitches, working until I reach the last 2 stitches, where I will make a decrease. Now crochet on your own until you reach the last 2 stitches, and then together we'll make a decrease in those 2. I'm finishing up to the last 2 stitches, and in those I need to make a decrease, a decrease. This is when we turn 2 or more stitches into 1 stitch. In our case, it will be 2 stitches. Insert the hook as usual, pull up a loop, but don't finish the stitch. Insert the hook into the next stitch as well, and pull up another loop. And only now we yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook at once. That's a decrease. We also make a chain stitch, a turning chain, and move on to the next row, the 11th row. Here we will crochet like this, a decrease. Then single crochets, and in the last stitch of the row, an increase. So here we decrease, and here we increase. We make a decrease, insert the hook. So into the second stitch, as always, we insert the hook into the same spot, pull up a loop, don't finish it, then into the next chain, pull up a loop. Now yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. That was a decrease. Next, we crochet single crochets to the end, and in the very last stitch of the row, we will make an increase. I'll crochet up to the increase off camera, and together with you, we'll make the increase in the very last stitch. I'm finishing the second to last stitch now. And here is my last stitch where I need to make the increase. The first single crochet and the second single crochet. Next, I make a turning chain and move on to row 12. The next 12th row, we crochet according to the pattern. In the very first stitch, we'll make an increase. Next, we have 4 single crochets, and then a decrease. Make a turning chain, move on to the next row, crochet 2 single crochets into the very first stitch, make an increase. Done. Next, crochet 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now make 1 decrease. Don't finish the 2 stitches, then crochet them together. Move on to the next row, make a turning chain, and crochet row 13, where we'll start with a decrease. 4 single crochets, then an increase. Next, we make a chain of 3 air stitches. Turning chain, we start with a decrease. Crochet them together, and we've made a decrease. Now we have 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the last stitch, we make an increase, meaning we crochet 2 single crochets into the same base stitch. Next, we make 3 chain stitches. Chains 1, 2, 3. This will be the head. Next, we have 4. This is the turning chain, and we move on to the next, the 14th row. In this 14th row, the pattern is as follows. We crochet 4 single crochets, then we make an increase. 3 single crochets. Decrease turning chain. We crochet into the second chain from the hook under the front loop of the chain. Insert the hook and purchase. The very first single crochet stitch will be placed in the very next available chain space. Then the second single crochet stitch will be worked into the subsequent chain space. Finally, the third single crochet stitch will be carefully placed into the following chain space, completing the sequence. And now, in one of our increases, we crochet the 4th single crochet. Now we make an increase, that is 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. Next, we have 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3, and now we make a decrease. From 2 single crochets, we make 1. Don't finish the stitch, now crochet them together. Chain 1 and move on to the next row. Now we're going to crochet row 15. Look, the head is already taking shape, so this was the neck. Now we move on to the head. And here's our pattern. In the 15th row, we start with a decrease. Next, 3 single crochets, then an increase, 4 single crochets, and a chain stitch. Let's crochet this together now. We start with a decrease. Crochet 1 more. 1, done, decrease, there we go. Now we have 3 single crochets. Let's crochet them. One, 2, 3. Next, an important increase comes. So in the very next stitch, we will carefully crochet 2 individual single crochets. 1, 2. Now, as you can see, we effectively have a total of 4 single crochets. 1, 23, a significant number indeed, representing a specific quantity. And here's the last stitch. It's the 4th one. Next, we have a turning chain. We move on to row 16, and in row 16, the pattern is as follows. 5 single crochets, an increase, 2 single crochets, a decrease. So 5 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, next, an increase, 1. And into the same stitch, we crochet a second single crochet. Next, 2 single crochets, 1, and into the next stitch, another 1, and from the last 2 stitches, we make a decrease. Here and add. Here, crochet them all together. The decrease is done. Next, we have a turning chain. Let's move on to row 17, and in row 17, the pattern will be decrease, 2 single crochets, decrease. Let's crochet the decrease. Crochet together from 2 stitches, then 2 single crochets, 1, 2, and another decrease from 2 stitches. Crochet. Now a turning chain. And now we have the very last row where we'll make 2 decreases. One decrease. And the last decrease. That's it. We're done. With one piece. We need to make 2 of these, and I've already finished the second one. Look, when you make the first piece, you cut off the yarn tail and weave it in. Well, you secure it here and hide the yarn in the fabric. But when you make the second piece, we don't cut the yarn. Now we're going to start joining the 2 halves together and edging them here. That's why you don't need to cut the yarn, because we'll keep working with the same yarn. Now let's move on to joining the pieces together. Place both halves of the horse together, lining them up evenly. There shouldn't be any extra bits or mismatches because the pieces are exactly the same. Now we're going to crochet around the outline, joining them together with slip stitches. How do we do this? Let's find the spot. First, locate the initial stitch on the very first half of your work. Then, carefully identify the corresponding parallel stitch on the second half. Next, take hold of the working yarn. Gently pull up 2 distinct loops onto your crochet hook, and then smoothly pull one of those loops completely through the other one. Now, carefully and precisely, do it again. Gently pull one complete loop through the center of the other loop, ensuring a smooth and continuous motion. Next, you will find the following stitch, then insert the hook carefully under it. And at the same time, find the parallel stitch. Then do exactly the same thing, in the same manner. Next, again, the following stitch. And the parallel one on the other half. And again. We crochet around it. Once more, the next stitch. On the other half, there's also a parallel stitch. And again, we crochet it together. And this way, we crochet all around the horse. I'll do this off camera. I'll crochet part of it up to the tail. Then I'll fill it maybe even a little further, probably up to the neck. I'll fill it with hollow fiber, but we'll do that together. And then I'll finish crocheting to the end. I'll also fill this part with hollow fiber and close up our egging. And the horse will be almost ready. All right, let's carefully keep on crocheting this adorable horse together, shall we? Let me show you the progress so far. Here is exactly how I have carefully crocheted this adorable horse so far. There is still a significant part that is not yet joined together, and now I am going to begin to fill it. The horse. I'm going to fill this part with stuffing. I'm using hollow fiber. Be sure to completely fill all the legs as well. So I filled the legs a little bit. Make sure to fill them too. And now we'll continue crocheting together. And here at the end, leave a small opening and fill the head, the remaining space, and then we'll close up our crochet together. So now I have a small opening left here. I'm going to fill it with hollow fiber too, meaning the head and the neck. To fill, I've finally finished, and now I'm carefully completing the intricate edging. I have just a few stitches left. That's it. I've completely closed everything up. Now I carefully cut the remaining tail, gently pulling the loose yarn through the stitch. I take a needle and thread it. This tail is carefully threaded, and now I meticulously find the very first chain. Then I gently insert the needle directly under it, carefully pull it completely through, and then smoothly return it to its original position. Okay, it's hard to see here. Right here, precisely where my tail beautifully comes out, this particular tail, just like that. That's it. I've meticulously closed everything here. Now, on the wrong side, you can carefully hide this remaining tail along the intricate fabric, ensuring a neat and tidy finish. Like this. Like this. And like this, that's tight enough. When you carefully cut it off from the main piece, you will then obtain a charming and delightful little horse, much like this one you see here, perfectly formed and ready to be admired. Now we're going to make the mane and the tail. I've already prepared everything. We'll need 4 pieces. These 3 pieces will be used for the mane. Since my yarn is thick, I'll split it into 2 parts, just like this. So that's 1, 2. Altogether, you need 5 or maybe 6 strips like this. Here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I'll make 5. And for the tail, just 1 piece for the length, and it should be about 25 centimeters, while these are about 15 centimeters each. And I won't split this one. I'll just use it whole as is. We'll start right here at the corner. Now I'll decide where exactly to insert the hook. Let's do it right here in the corner. I find a loop here. You can do it like this, or you can go right under the loop. Yeah. So you can do it this way too, like this. Let's try it this way. And I pull it through this hole. This will be the future tail. Now I pull out one side. You need to straighten everything out so nothing sticks out. If it doesn't straighten out, you can comb it. I have a useful comb like this one. You can certainly use it to tidy things up a bit more, just to thoroughly even it out, since the very end of the tail is at the bottom anyway. We'll meticulously comb it, and now, with great care, we are going to separate this entire thread into 3 distinct individual strands. This way, you can thoroughly comb it out. There, it is now perfectly combed. At this point, I absolutely need to begin braiding it without delay. Divide the tail into 3. Numerous and distinct sections. And braid it. That's it. This length of the tail is enough for me. Now I'll tie it off here. And to tie it, I'll take my 6th piece, which I won't be using in the doll. I'll pull some threads out of it and use them to tie it. Here's the tail right here. So I've tied off my tail. Now we'll comb it out and cut off the excess. If the tail is too long, you can make it even shorter. To keep these loose threads from visibly sticking out, you can carefully tuck them securely inside the braid with a small needle. Just like that. That's it. So I inserted the needle right into the center of the braid and pulled those threads inside. And now nothing is sticking out. The tail is done. Now let's move right on to the mane. We'll use our 5 braids here, the ones that go in a row. And pull them through, just like we did with the tail, doing everything carefully. Now we thread the ends through this loop and tighten it. Let's do one more. Here's the next lead. We pull it through there. And so on and so forth. Done. I ultimately ended up tying 5 distinct sections. Now I carefully brush out the entire mane, and then I just trim it precisely however I personally like it to be. That's it. I've trimmed the mane too, and now I have such a beautiful little horse with a very neat, pretty tail. As I mentioned before, you can make the mane as long or as short as you like, whatever you prefer. Here's the horse from the other side. Mine looks like this. So you can make these beauties out of jute or colored jute. It turns out really beautiful. You can hang it on a Christmas tree or attach a keyring here and use it as a keychain. So, any option you like. You can crochet not only with jute, but also with raffia. As I mentioned before, I've made some with raffia, and I made them as keychains. Friends, we're wrapping up now. I hope you enjoyed the masterclass. Please don't forget to leave a comment and give a like. It would make me really happy. I always reply to feedback in the comments. Wishing everyone beautiful horses. Bye for now.